Hey everybody, time for a brand new vlog. I apologize if I seem utterly frustrated right now. I was trying to do something special for this vlog. I just finished watching the Babadook off of Netflix. I've heard a little bit about it, and the reason I'm frustrated is because I wanted to try to use the trailer, little snippets of the trailer to give you a little feeling of what it was I just finished watching in order to get you in the mood to understand, what was so interesting or exciting about this. But Fraps refuses to work. Fraps will no longer record any video off of YouTube now, or anything like that. Instead, it only records exclusively from my shitty webcam. Why? I don't know. Somehow something got changed in the settings just randomly, so now that's all it will record. Only if the camera's on, but it will only record what the camera sees, as opposed to just recording whatever video I'm playing, be it, computer or whatever. So, besides, it probably doesn't matter, because I'm sure even if I did use the trailer, it would probably just get hit with a copyright claim. So, despite that bullshit, was the movie good? Yes! It was really good! It was a really good movie. It was creepy as shit. It was really good. And I love a lot of the different metaphors that the movie threw in. There are going to be a lot of spoilers in here, so just be warned. Spoilers abound. Okay. So, sorry, I'm getting hit with pop-up shit, because my computer is stupid and probably plagued with viruses, I'm sure. So, the Babadook is a story of a woman who starts off pregnant. She's on her way to the hospital with her husband, who immediately dies in a car wreck while he was taking her to the hospital to give birth to her child. 6 years later, she hasn't dealt with her grief, and she's not doing a very good job of raising her child. What it really said to me about a lot of this movie was something that I understand a lot of women go through after they've just gone through childbirth, something known as postpartum depression. And not knowing a lot about it, but just knowing that it is something that does happen. It is something that's fairly normal. And it's also something that's fairly, I guess, hard to treat. And it's also incredibly dangerous, because at the same time, I've heard some stories about how some women who, going through this, will often have thoughts or imagination of murdering their own child. They don't go through with it, but they think about that, because there's a lot of stress, overwhelming stress, anxiety, no sleeping, and the main character goes through a lot of this. And so does the child, too. The child shares a lot of what's going on. And I love the metaphor that the film presents with the whole Babadook thing. That, yes, the Babadook is a monster. It does exist. But in order for the Babadook to be able to get what it wants, it has to possess you. So the Babadook possesses the mother and eventually takes her over, because it even tells her in the book that, as the story sort of goes on, the book keeps on coming back, and she's destroyed it and burnt it and all of this, and tries to convince herself that there is no Babadook, there is no such thing, there are no monsters, blah, 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 but this book keeps on showing up, and every single night she keeps on hearing weird sounds all throughout the house, or scratches at the door and knocks, and then she gets a phone call of a kind of bug, creepy like voice just saying, Babadook, Babadook, Dook, Dook, Dook. And I know, you hear that silly little nursery rhyme style name, you think, pfft. Once you hear it through that creepy voice, it sends shivers up and down your spine. And then, of course, the scratching, and then the knocking. you know, and oof, this movie freaked me out, and it does end on a positive note because the movie is all about uh, repressed grief because she never got to grieve over her husband's death, and she never got to bond properly with her son, and it's all about that as well, and and it's also about the son worrying and caring about his mother, and wanting to protect her. And someone else pointed this out too, where it's also about how you're living with someone, uh, a family member, a loved one, who has their own psychological issues, where they have these severe mood swings, and just kind of telling yourself that you're just gonna have to live with this person, you're just gonna have to deal with it, which is a hard thing to do. I mean, I can't imagine anybody doing something like this, or be willing to put themselves through something like that. And so, the movie touches on a lot of those aspects, and it's delivered in such a brilliant way too, because you sympathize with the mother, but you also sympathize with the child as well. Because very early on, you're not really even sure if there really is a monster or not. You just think, oh, it's just the child, just overreacting, or just, or just wanting too much attention and just being a bad child. But you find out that no, there really is a monster. And I like how you see again, this just goes back to atmospheric psychological horror of never seeing the monster, and only seeing glimpses of the monster, and just, and like you do see it in the book, but even then you don't really get to see the monster, and, I love that, about a good horror. And this also reminded me of Sinister as well, because again, it's another movie that uses children. Only, instead, of the twist in Sinister, again, spoilers, where the demon was sort of taking possession of the child, and the child was, doing all the horrible deeds. In this case, it's the Babadook who takes possession of the mother, and all of that anger and rage and frustration that she feels towards her child all just comes out. So it is also about child abuse, very much. It's all about repressed emotions and repressed grief. And God, this movie does that very well. So, and it has that very atmospheric horror, which works very well. Which would also explain why I was feeling touches of the original Exorcist, because I remember for the first half of The Exorcist, there were so many loud noises and, and just atmospheric horror and such, that by the time of the actual possession and everything started happening, things just really amped up from there. And it's done in sort of a minimalist style, and it's just done very well in the use of music and the use of sound, and then the actors and the actresses, they all do a very good job, and it's a very good movie. I mean, it's on Netflix instant streaming right now, so I would certainly say check this out. And I don't know how long this movie has been out now. It probably came out like maybe a year or so ago in theaters. But if you haven't seen it yet, definitely do check it out. So yeah, so there you go. Those are my thoughts on the Babadook. Let me know what you guys thought as well. Have you seen it? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments section. And I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.